Hey, welcome to Play Guitar News. It's Lee. How's everybody doing today? It's Friday. That's right. Big night out on the town. Not right. I'm the host of Play Guitar Podcast and Play Guitar Academy, and this is something, if you're new here, something we do on the weekends. We do a lot of hanging out on the weekends and afternoons, and we've got a wonderful show of guitar news today, and we're going to hang out in the chat a little bit. We're going to talk about the things going on and answer any questions you might have at the end of the chat. Very happy to do that. Hope everybody's excited for their weekend. Let's head over now to the chat, see what we got going on. Oh, goodness gracious. We got everybody here already. Okay, so Joe's here and Gloria's here. Dean's here. Great to see you, Dean. And let's see here. Evan popped in too. Awesome. So we got a few people coming in. We got some more. Will be here in a few minutes. And we got some great stuff to talk about today. Some classic rock stuff, some gear things, just skimming over everything today. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see here. So let's check the chat out. Chat. Let's check the chat out just for a second before we get started on the news. So everybody's saying hi to each other. Gloria's got all weekend to play her guitar. Awesome. That sounds great. I wish I did. I've got all weekend to do a bunch of other stuff. Very cool though. Joe's here. He's got the honeydew list going on. Playing a little guitar. Sounds good. Evan's here. And we're going to get ready to get started just a second. So let's head on over to the news. And here's our first story that we're going to get to today. And this is Joe Bonamassa, Brent Mason, great guitar player, and more to offer one-on-one socially distanced instructions at the Woodshed Guitar Experience. It's a 3-day Tennessee retreat, and it promises safe hands-on teaching from some of today's best players. It's in this August. While most electric guitar lessons have been relegated to Zoom these days, we aren't. We're doing stuff different. The Woodshed Guitar Experience is hosting a retreat in Crossville, Tennessee, with 101 socially distanced instruction from the likes of Joe Bonamassa, Brent Mason, Andy Wood, Andy Timmons, also a great player, Mark Lettieri, and Greg Koch. The 3-day event is on August 27th through the 30th on more than 150 acres, allowing participants plenty of space to spread out and jam. That would be interesting. I'm very interested to see how that goes. Let's go and let's take a look over at the at if there's any more information. There's a wonderful pic of Joe. No, I think we got all about that. The Woodshed Guitar Experience. That would be pretty neat. Pretty neat. A way to get out and do some guitar playing and do some learning. Without worrying too much, if we're comfortable at doing that so far. So let's go ahead and move on to our next, before we go back to the chat for a minute. And what we have here is the Beatles song John Lennon claims to have featured the first recorded guitar feedback. We all know what feedback is. It's that sound that you don't want to have that sounds awesome sometimes, and if you can use it right, it's perfectly fine. The Beatles, despite what may now be a quite safe beginning, quickly set out pushing the musical and lyrical envelope following their meteoric rise to the top. While most bands and artists would be happy to write chart-topping fodder and watch the checks roll in, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr were intent on becoming fabled musicians, not pop stars. It meant they were happy to push themselves further and further into the musical unknown to best accurately express themselves. Many will point to Rubber Soul for their first record that the Fab Four truly stretch out their musical muscles. The seeds were being sown on previous albums, with one song, here we go, providing a landmark moment for the entire music industry. That was 1964's Meet the Beatles. It may go down in history as one of the least adored Beatles albums, often forgettable in their classic song states, but the record features one noteworthy moment on the song I Feel Fine, which features the first bit of guitar feedback ever put on record. I love stuff like this. I love when people claim these things, because it ends up you start to learn about a lot of the roots of these ideas. And I know there was one about distortion a few years ago, and someone came up, they said this was the first distortion recorded, and then then I think it was like Ike Turner showed up and he's like, no, you're wrong. It was me. And he said he used to take a knife to his speaker cones, and when he would cut the cones, when he would play his guitar really loud, it would add a distortion to it. So that's one of those things. Was that the first feedback on guitar? I don't, maybe, but we'll take a look at that too. Okay, let's move on to our next. Let's check here, make sure I got everything. Yeah, there's I Feel Fine. I don't feel like getting copyright strikes, so I'm not going to play it, but I may play it afterwards. Check it out there. Found object will become one of the most vital pieces of avant-garde artistry, rock and roll heard in years. With it, the acts mentioned by, okay, then they're just talking about how it was an accident caused by leaning the guitar against the amp. So they had some accidental feedback, recorded it, and used it. It could be curious. I'm curious to see that. Okay, let's take a look at our next news article. And this is Meet the Plectrum. This is a new hinged guitar pick, and it promises the optimum angle for strumming. Patent pending design allows the tongue to glide over the strings with 20 degrees of movement. All right, is that what? Okay, let's take a look at that. Make sure you guys can see it. You can. So there it is, the Plectrum. We're always up for a new guitar pick, a good new guitar pick design. And there it is, the Plectrum. It's a 5mm pick body and a textured finger grip that allows players to switch easily between strumming and picking. Let me go back. The tongue to glide over the strings at an optimal angle, both on the down and up strokes, to make strumming a breeze. Well, let's see here. It's manufactured in the UK in 2 materials and 3 thicknesses, 0.5, 0.75, and 1mm. And you can get them for packs of 1, 2, or 3, beginning at £6.99. It's over at plectrum.com. Let's take a look at that again. So it has a hinge. Curious. It looks kind of cumbersome, but then again, this picture is blown up pretty far. I mean, it's obviously looks a little bit bigger than it is. Can't really figure out how the hinge works there. I guess it would make the pick move side to side like that and go forward. I don't know. We'll check that out pretty soon. Okay, so now I want to head back over to the chat. And let's see here. Okay, so everybody's just talking. That would be cool. All right, so let's move on to our next little bit of guitar news. And thank you to Chris for getting the guitar news together for us this week. And this is Queen, not that Queen, to appear on a new range of UK stamps. This kind of magic is on its way, as Queen are to become only the third band ever to have a set of commemorative stamps printed in their honor. The new set, already on sale, feature 8 of the band's most popular album covers. So it's album cover stamps. 1975's Night at the Opera, where Bohemian Rhapsody was there, and 1991's Innuendo, which was their last recorded album. So let's see. Let's see here. Brian May says, sometimes it's strange to wake up and realize the position in which we're now held. They've become a national institution. So this is pretty neat. And it also says that AC/DC have announced the release of 4 official Jigsaw puzzles with classic album covers. Pretty neat. Okay, moving on to the next one here. This one's going to be cool, especially for Joe and David. And what we have here is Steve Vai is planning an entire album of 8-string instrumental guitar. The virtuoso teases, "It's the heaviest stuff I could possibly dream of." Steve Vai is well known as one of the original proponents for the 7-string guitar with the iconic Ibanez Universe, but as of yet, we've yet to have any recorded evidence of him playing an 8-string. So it seems that may change in the not too distant future. In an interview with Guitar.com, he revealed he has 3 new albums in the works, one of which features his most extended range compositions yet. My original plan was to record 3 trio-based instrumental guitar records that have no overdubs. I'll bet that would be fun to hear. It's a lot. I really love his live stuff. I'm gonna head over to the. Oh goodness, I'm gonna head on over to the web page here. There is Steve. Let's see here. And let's see here. 2 more releases in the cards. There's also the Real Illusions trilogy. And he's already released 2 of those records. So this one, and also he did an acoustic and vocal version for the song "The Moon and I," and the response was so great. He thought, I'm going to make just an acoustic record, just solo acoustic and vocals. So those are some things that are coming up. And let's see here. I'm sure he's got a ton of stuff going on since no one's out there playing right now. So this should be pretty cool. An 8-string guitar from Steve Vai. Very, very cool. Okay. Joe says he's always looking for that new and different sound, and that's why he loves him. Yeah, 7-string is a little hard to handle for me, and an 8-string that would take some time too. So Chris is here. Hi Chris, great to see you. We're gonna move on to the next. We have a talented guitarist performs amazing solos while riding a one-wheeled electric skateboard along the Atlanta Beltline. On nice days in Atlanta, musician Chavis Flagg grabs his guitar and portable amp, goes for a ride on his one-wheel electric skateboard along the city's famed Beltline. Flagg impressively performs amazing solos as he's cruising along the public trail. He told CNN that skating is only a daytime activity, but it does help while bars and music venues are still closed. We have a lot of that going on in Macon as well. Not the skateboarding stuff, but people playing out on the streets. Let's see here. We'll do a little bit of this. That is hysterical. Okay. That's awesome. That's awesome. Um, Pick a song, any song. So I guess he's taking requests too. That is crazy. That's pretty good. Although I don't see how I can do it. It's so stinking hot out here right now. I'm not so sure. Let's just check this out. It's got some background tracks going on too. So maybe he's got a PA system. Yeah, it looks like he's got like a Bluetooth PA system down there. That's awesome. Very neat. Very neat. You'll have to go up there and check that out sometime. Okay, so we've got a few more to get to today. Let's see here. This is on guitar.com. And this is how listening to jazz trumpets improved my guitar improvisation. And it says it's easy to get stuck into well-worn cliches and patterns when we improvise, but listening to things that aren't the guitar can help you break free. And the picture they have is of Miles Davis. And this is something that I always recommend. It's the cool jazz, the modal jazz that was in the 60s. Actually started in the 50s and went into the 60s. Kind of Blue is the big one. All the early Miles Davis things, especially the trumpet playing, the sax playing on all his stuff is just awesome. It's incredible. It's all over the place. But the Miles Davis's trumpet playing is really cool and not really difficult. It's his whole thing wasn't to show off; it was to make the music better. So let's see who wrote this. See if we can find out who wrote this. They're talking about phrasing and notation, dynamics. Finally, there's tone. Don't see a name to this, but it's a great idea. Milestones. There's, and I think I'm going to put a list of albums that, if you're looking for something new to listen to and to maybe do some transcribing, that's not going to be totally different. Kind of Blue is an album that's really worth taking a listening to. Let's look at phrasing here. Obviously, a trumpet's played very differently to a guitar. Sound is produced by blowing air. Okay. Through makes higher pitches. Higher pitch play the trumpet cookie. Breathing while soloing. Breathing harder while playing. Breathing while soloing. That's a big deal. A lot of people, when they solo, they do this. They hunch over. They get tense, right? And it comes through in the way that you play. And a lot of people forget to breathe when they're playing guitar. They hold their breath. And, that's a good way to get brain fog, number one, if you're trying to come up with ideas to play, if you're holding your breath all the time. And it's not a good way to have your posture, too. So when you're hunched over like that. So breathing is something that's really important. And when it comes to phrasing, which is what this is talking about, here, when it comes to phrasing, a lot of us in the Academy are working on phrasing right now. And we're talking about choices of notes and making melodies, but also leaving space. If you hear guitar players, the one that comes up all the time is Yngwie, who can play just a million notes and plays in a classical style. But in his style, if you ever listen to him, there are always places where his playing stops, just like he would be taking a breath if he was playing a wind instrument of some sort. And those little stops are incredibly important to your guitar playing. It doesn't sound that our ears are made to listen to the voice to recognize things that are vocal, whether it's coming from a voice or not, having vocal ideas. So when you play guitar parts where you just play and play and play and you never stop, you never stop, you never stop, it makes people feel like they're running out of breath. You have to keep those things in there. So great idea to listen to some trumpet players to let you know when it might be a great time for you to stop, regroup, take a breath, even though you may not need to for the guitar, take a breath and then move on. So very, very cool article. I think I'm going to read this a little bit. Joe says, my cousin Pete is an awesome trumpet player as well. He models himself a lot after Miles. He has several albums and he also teaches music for University of Texas. Very cool. I have a very good friend of mine who, before he went to Berkeley, went to Texas, as well as a percussionist in a great school. Dot 2227's here. Great to see you. How you doing today? So let's see here. Evan says, I love Kind of Blue. It's such a good record. And Joe says, Miles is my favorite. Love fusion jazz. And think about all the people like Robin Ford came through Miles Davis's band, and so many different players came through his band. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, Evan, the work. I know. It's you gotta keep moving. All right, so we've got one more little bit of news here, and then we're gonna do a little hanging out, answering any questions you guys might have, or just let me know what you got going on. And so our last little bit of news today is about Prince and his one-of-a-kind gold leaf Fender Custom Shop Strat is up for auction. So let's see here. He requested that Goldfinger, which also boasts a tiger stripe maple neck, never be duplicated. So it will be the only one that they do like this. And you know, you have to be very careful with gold leaf too, especially when you're picking. So in his picture, let me make sure you guys can see it on the left, looks like his pick guard is gold leaf too. But on the picture on the right, I guess the one for the auction, it's got a white pick guard. Maybe let's see if there's any. No, it's still on the white. Well, that could be there. But when he was playing it, does that look like a gold leaf pick guard too? Maybe it's just the lights for me. So let's see here. The Blue Angel guitar, it's sold for $563,500, but they've got this new one, the Goldfinger Gold Leaf prototype. He used for his Welcome to America tour and played at the kickoff for the Apollo Theater in 2010. It was Yuri Shishkov, custom shop master builder, applied gold leaf directly to the body. And let's see here. They talked about the neck. Concept for the Strat came out of a request from Live Nation asking for a unique guitar Prince could use for a fundraiser. So the prototype was sent to Prince at the Apollo Theater press conference, and he played the guitar for rehearsals, and it then was sent back to Fender with his personal specs that include a new neck profile and a selection of pickups. Then they built a new guitar for him, and this prototype has remained in the case untouched since being returned by Prince. Okay, so this is the prototype that he sent back. Let's see. Custom Goldfinger flight case. Minimum bid of $150,000, estimated to sell for $200,000 to $300,000. Yeah, let's all chip in. I got $10. Who's with me? I'd be afraid to play it. I'd be afraid my pick would scratch off all the gold leaf. There, pretty neat though. He had a lot of really interesting guitars, and what's funny is he played that what was that Telly Prince's Telly. Is that a Hohner? Hohner. The Hohner Mag Cat. With the tortoiseshell pickguard. Yep. That's what we got there. Okay, so that's our news for everybody. That's what we're looking at today. So let's see, it's 4:30. We've got some time just to hang out for a while. I'm gonna get the chat going here. And let's see here. David says, wasn't Eddie Van Halen's dad a jazz clarinet player? Yep, he was. And I'm sure he said it influenced his playing, if I remember rightly. It was. Yeah, he was. And from what I understand, he was wanting to take them out on gigs as kids. Joe says, I placed a bid for that guitar already. And Gloria loved Prince. He was so talented. Yeah, Prince is always a big deal in our house. We've enjoyed lots and lots of cool stuff. Super Bowl he did was one of our favorite things. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Tom Petty. We've talked about that before. Let's see here. Chris likes Shiny. Joe says, just kidding. I'd need a second mortgage to even try to pull that off. Yeah. So here's David. David said, and hi, David, if I hadn't said hi yet. He says, Prince was a seriously underrated guitar player. He's got some great live stuff. And the Hofner Telly is really nice too. And Evan's in for 20. Okay, so Evan's in with me. We got 30. He's doubled my bid. So $30. It's a start, right? Joe's agreeing. He's a fantastic guitar player. And Evan says you have to see Prince play the Hall of Fame show. Well, yeah, that's what we've been talking about. And let's see here. Evan says I watch it whenever YouTube recommends it. It's so darn good. Yeah, it's fun, man. It's a really, and you don't watch it for a while, and it's pure attitude. And you've got all these guys who are classic rock musicians playing, and then he comes in. He's like, they've got him off the side of the stage, and he's like, and he's got a whole different thing going on than everybody else does. It was cool. It was cool. Well, there's our news. What have you guys been doing this week? And what you got going on this weekend? I know Joe's got some honeydew list things going on. I got a full weekend scheduled at this point. Evan says they say his guitar still hasn't come down from the rafters to this day. Yeah. Yeah, he got done and just chucked his guitar and strutted off. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, so I've got all of the, I'll just talk about where I'm at right now. I've got all of the PowerPoint presentations for 101, 102, 201, 203, and now I'm working on 204. And with 204, for those of you who've been through, that's our major pentatonic level, which is a really fun level, and I'm kind of fleshing it out a little bit more. I've got one of the things that it's time at that point to work on is to revisit the notes on the fretboard. A lot of people learn them as a beginner, or at least when they go through my course, they learn them as a beginner, and then they kind of get out of, you stop thinking about it. And as we start getting into these scales, we start to have to really need to know what those notes are in the middle of the neck. And so I'm adding going through each string, and then some different ways of going through the finding notes in the center of the fretboard easier. I've also I'm going through all of the background tracks for 204, and I'm getting chord progressions from those. So that's what I was working on today. So not too far off it. I've got go through 2 or 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 3 more levels after this, and then I'm going to make sure I'd like to have background tracks for every single lesson. That would be pretty cool. I also had an idea for, we're always talking about using metronome. I'm thinking about having a drum beat type metronome, and I'll have it in different styles. So you could just click I don't know. I'm working on it right now, and I don't know how it would work with the Academy, how it's set up, but got some ideas for that. And then as soon as I have all the worksheets, all the PowerPoint presentations, and all the background tracks done, then I just record the videos for everything, and we are ready to go. So that's what I've been doing the past couple of days. Going forward, I've got 2 days of coaching videos coming up tomorrow and the next day. Got some moving stuff going on tomorrow morning, and gonna take some time to play some guitar this weekend too, hopefully. So let's see here. Evan's got work and doing some recording again, and getting some grass cutting this weekend. Chris is working, but he's off Sunday. In usual situation tomorrow. Try and watch, but we'll be working. Yeah, I don't have let's see, Evan. Let's see. I was hoping, Evan, do you have tomorrow off for guitar talk? Because I really like to talk to you about your recording stuff tomorrow, if you have a chance. I thought that would be a cool guitar talk if you have the time. If not, got a few other things that we can do. But it was just an idea that I had. So love to see if Evan can hang out with me tomorrow. And Sunday's just going to be a hangout as usual. And it's nice. I've had my guitar pedals here. Been working on some new tones too. It's pedals, man, have become a big part of my tone. I've tried doing everything just through my floorboard with just the amps and till I brought my pedal board in here and hooked them all together, things started cooking a little bit better. So Evan says thinks he can make it. Okay, that's cool. We'll do some recording stuff tomorrow. And here's Joe. Joe says, you just knew I borrowed the E7 shape from my new D7 shape. That was hilarious. Yeah, I've seen these things a few times. He says, stricken with the way you're teaching. That's what's great about doing this in this kind of sharing videos way, instead of sitting there and doing a Zoom call. I'm completely phasing that out. I find that this sharing videos back and forth is much more efficient, much easier to go back and revisit something if you need to, for both me and for the people who are getting videos from me. It's just a better way of doing things, and you don't have that nervous pressure. Oh, I got a Zoom call right now. We got to do lessons. What are we going to do? I don't know. And this way we can stay on track, but I can still keep up to date with how you're doing. And so Joe was doing I forget what chord it was, but at the moment, but he had used a fingering. It was a different 3-note chord, and he used a different one for him at where he's at right now. It worked better for him. It was easier to do. And so then, of course, everybody knows I took the time to tell him that's fine for now, but the problem is that where we're going, it's going to take you a long time to switch from that chord to the other chords that you need, and it puts you actually out of position in one place. And so he said I stricken the way. Yeah, I just done this for a long time. That's all. I've seen it. I've seen it all, man. I've seen it all. But here's the thing that's good about that is that you're getting creative and trying to find ways of getting this stuff to happen, which means that you're thinking, and that's 80% of it. The fact that you're invested, and you're trying to get this stuff done. So I'm steering you one way, and I'll put you back on when you start getting off track. I'll put you back on the course a little bit. That was fun. That was a good video too. So sorry, Siri messed me. Let's say sticking. Yeah, sticking with the way with. Okay, makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, man. And there's a lot of chords that you could do like that, and there's a lot of chords like let's take like this, the regular old G chord, right? So this is the chord that when you get the old Mel Bay books, right? This is how you're supposed to play your G chord. Do I play it like that? I play it like this sometimes. I'll play it like this sometimes. I'll play it like this sometimes. There's so many different ways to play a G. This let's go through a little bit of them. So here's the fourth finger G. It's the one that you usually are playing with the C add 9 chord. Like John Cougar type song. And Skynyrd songs, and the classic rock type of way of doing that. But so we've got the regular one, we've got the 4-finger one, and a lot of times this A string where you've got the B on it. Listen to that. Let me get this. Oh, that's what it is. Got the pedal board now. That's what's messing everything up. Okay. So a lot of problems with the G chord deal with these low 3 strings. It's a triad. It's it's G, B, D. And it can sound muddy whenever you have that interval of a major third on your low strings. You hear that? It gets kind of muddy there. Especially if you want a nice crisp chord. A lot of times people will leave this finger off of a G chord, but that's an A string. You don't want to hear that note, so they'll take your 3rd finger and just barely touch that there. And then you have this G chord and this G chord, and let's see where else. This G chord and this G chord and there's all sorts of different ways you can play just a regular triad for G chords. But in open position, there's so many different ways of doing it. And so what Joe did was he's trying to fix his situation right now because he was struggling with the way that the chord was written. And it was great. It's great thinking. I'm not thinking about where you are right now. I'm thinking about where you're going to be soon, and the songs that you're going to play. And that's why I hopefully corrected your course a little bit there, and not making you. My intention wasn't making you feel that it's wrong. The nice thing about guitar is there's no board of stuffy old guys, in suits saying this is how it has to be, and it's if you can make a case for it, do it. There's nobody to tell you can or you can't do something. Where I come in is that I've done this stuff and I know what can hold somebody back and what's a potential problem, and here's the reason why it is. So that's how that kind of happened. Dean says, Dean says, that's the way I was taught the G chord trying to switch to my pinky. Yeah. And then Evan says, I always play the G with 4 fingers. Yeah, it's the, well, if you're a Pink Floyd fan, it's the, it's the Pink, there's the Pink Floyd stuff with that too. But the third is important. And so you'll see a lot of people play the G chord this way, right? Now let's take a look at the notes. We got G. We're not playing the A string. It's being muted, right? We got a D, a G, a D, and a G. G, D, G, D, G. So what kind of chord is that? I'm just going to wait and see if anybody knows where I'm going with this. If a triad has 3 notes, right? And people play this G like this all the time without using the first finger and by putting the D string on the B string at the 3rd fret, so you don't get the B. So when you play that chord, what is it really? A G chord has a G, a B, and a D. This chord has a G, a D, a G, a D, and a G. I'm just waiting. It's a power chord. This is just a power chord. There's no 3rd in it, right? Evan's right. It's a power chord, right? So it's a very cool power chord. It cuts through a little bit. To make it an actual G triad, you need that B in there or down here. So now that we know if we cover that B up there, this is really a G5 chord, and that goes really well with distortion. So if you want to have a really distorted sound with a wide chord, you could play that, and you won't have that note that messes the distortion up. That makes it sound kind of wavy. It'll be nice and even right there. So there's lots of different ways of playing different chords, and I encourage you to do what Joe did and experiment and try different fingerings and try different things. And it's really down to, will it work or not? And it was working for Joe at the time, but I know for going on that sometimes you can't, when you've got a split second to switch chords and chords are going through fast, you need to be able to move those fingers as quickly as you can, and that might slow you down a little bit. Joe says, Lee, I thought it was great the way how you explained everything to me, understood all the way. Good. I'm glad. I was trying not to, I wanted you to, I didn't want to discourage you from trying more things. You may try something that becomes your style, so I didn't want you to think that you were wrong, but I just wanted to so I didn't want to I've had plenty of teachers that would kill the encouragement, that you're excited to do something, you found something that works for you and is very exciting. And I told you about that one teacher that I said, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? And screaming at you and stuff. So I'm very sensitive to that, but in that, I think that's how we should always do it, is take a look. If you come up with something new, you come up with something different, take an honest look at it and see, well, is this something that can be used all the time? Is there certain things that it might fight you for in the long run? And where we're at right now with getting Joe's chords together, So Joe's in a situation that I've had a lot of different students in who people love lead guitar and they go straight for lead guitar, and the rhythm guitar is put on the back burner a little bit, and then at some point you realize, well, they're connected. You know, you can play rhythm guitar without being a lead guitar player, but if you want to be a really good lead guitar player, you have to know about rhythm guitar because it's what you're playing over. It's what you're matching. So if you don't understand chord progressions and those things, when you try to play lead guitar, it's not always going to work out so good. And so what you find is that just learning a scale to play over a key, it gets you about half the way there. And it's the little things after that, the figuring, well, what chord am I playing over at this point? And why does this note I'm playing sound not so good? And what could I do to match this particular chord at this point, even though I'm playing, say I'm playing in the key of A over everything, kind of like you do with the blues. And then you get to a certain point, you get to, usually it's like the 4 chord, and you play a certain note, and you go, that doesn't sound so good. Well, how do I fit? It sounds good on these other chords, it doesn't sound so good here. Why is that? And so then the next step is going into that. So Joe said a 5th chord, a power chord. That's right. He says, how I was doing the translation left me behind the 8 ball. The way how you're teaching me, I'm ahead of the 8 ball. Yeah, and that's the to when you get into a situation where you're playing, when you call up some friends, hey, let's play some guitar, right? And that nervousness that happens because you're not sure what's going to happen, you know? You're not sure if somebody's going to ask you to play something that you're not really ready for or you haven't prepared for yet. And so when we knock all these things down, when we get all these fundamental things, you start to lose that nervousness a little bit. You start to say, okay, I don't know what we're going to play, but I know my fundamentals, you know, so I can play something no matter what they throw at me, you know. And so, and kind of like you said, getting ahead of the 8 ball, right? And it helps too, because sometimes when you're playing with some musicians or guitar players, or you know, and they're trying to show you what they want, you know, a song they want to play or something like that, and they may not be skilled at communicating those things really well. If you know your stuff, you can kind of figure it out ahead of time before that happens. It makes you, you know, there's so many things in life that you go into and you're not, you know, public speaking and those things you get nervous about. But when you've got when you know your stuff, you know that you're in good shape. It's a nice feeling to be able to stand there and know I can make something musical out of whatever's thrown at me. It may not be perfect. It's never going to be perfect, you know. Gloria says it's all about the basics. Yeah, it is. It's all about the basics. Listen to, you know, basketball players that, you know, they always stress the fundamentals. That's what they're using all the time. The fundamentals are what you're using. Everyone focuses on the shiny stuff, you know, but they don't realize that tips the scale. If all you can play is the shiny stuff and you can't play a song, it's not going to work out for you. You know, everything revolves around the song, you know, and lead guitar is a huge part of the song. I love playing lead guitar. It's what I want to do. But I can't just play lead. Even those guys like Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, Eric Johnson, that they're basically have taken their lead guitar and replaced the vocalist with their lead guitar, right? They've kicked the singer out and they're doing the melodies. They are still playing songs. They're still performing melodies. And they still have to keep people's attention. In fact, they have an even harder job because they don't have the story, the lyrics. They're just playing melodies. So you have to really have your melodies down to keep somebody's attention for 3 minutes and 15 seconds or whatever it is. So yeah, it's all about the basics. It's all about in anything. It's all about the basics. If you don't have the basics down, you're taken out of the game. You're worried. If you don't know your basics, at any minute something could happen that you're not prepared for. But if you've got your basics down, if somebody throws you something, and it could be something really advanced, it's built on the basics. You can play your way up to that if that makes sense. But yeah, we do our videos and share our videos on the weekends, but during the week I'm going through everything, all the different levels. So all week I'm going through this stuff and I'm refining it, getting it better. So I'm very happy to have this time to do this, to get it on paper and get it ready for videos. And so I think it's going to really help our coaching too. So when we get to the point where there's videos for every single lesson, and I can see what you're doing, and then I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. If I see something that I can help you with, or if I can make some suggestions or something like that, and then I'll tell you what we're working on. But if you want to go more in depth with that, you can always go back to the original video for the level that you're on, and just keep going over it and over and over it. And then at some point after this is all done, we're going to have daily practice videos where I have a 10 to 15 minute video for every day of the week to help you practice. You can practice along with me. I'll be practicing it in a way that, you can practice along with me. And that'll be the middle level of all, there'll be just the videos and then the daily practice videos and then the coaching. And you guys being in coaching, you get access to everything, but not everybody wants coaching and not everybody wants a daily, for me to practice with them daily, but a lot of people do. That was in the beginner course that I put out, which was kind of testing the waters of this. The most feedback I get is about the daily practice videos. So looking forward to it. It's coming along slowly, but surely it's coming. It's a lot. There's a lot of information that's going to be up there. So that's right, Gloria. It's all about the basics. And yeah, I think if you go back, what's really nice about the coaching is you can go back and watch other people's lessons and stuff, and you can see the progression from week to week to week. The one that I think is if you go back and watch people who just started off, like Moshe's videos, and see how far he's come in such a short amount of time, it's really inspiring. I really am enjoying that. Okay, everybody, it's 5:00. I'm going to go ahead and hit the road. If you have any questions for me real quick, just let me know. Tomorrow, Evan said he could do it, so I'm going to take him up on that. Unless, something comes up and he can't do it, just let me know, Evan. But we're going to talk about some recording tomorrow. Recording for guitar players. And how to approach that for guitar players. Maybe we'll talk about drum loops and all that stuff too. So, and Evan's personal experience with recording, how it's been going. So that's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. So make sure you hang out with us for Guitar Talk tomorrow. And okay, don't see anything else, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it. So have a great Friday night. Enjoy your weekend, and head on back over here tomorrow around 4, and we're going to hang out with Evan a little bit. Thanks everybody for hanging out today, and I'm going to see you tomorrow. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.